Greetings. Thank you, Yellow Arrow Publishing, for selecting my story. My name is Naidoo. I was born in South Africa and live in Sydney, Australia. I'm a tutor, teacher, author, and university advisor. The turning point for me was when I realized that racism was alive, no matter where I lived. But it was up to me to tell my story, to allow myself and others to belong. I will now read an excerpt from my story, Fear and Hope. Anything that threatens a sense of belonging entrenches fear and a deep-seated need to be accepted. Being born on the wrong side of the colour in Natal under South Africa's apartheid regime left the child in me fearful of the law for most of my life. I did not want to be seen or heard during those fearful years. In an innate quest to belong, I turned to reading Jane Austen and Charles Dickens and plays that depicted all things other than my skin tone, culture, and what little life experience I had gained in junior high school. Colonialism left its mark in making me want to belong. As a child, one of the ways I imagined doing this was to experience Christmas as Britain and other parts of the European world did. Lo and behold, the Christmas tree in my parents' one-bedroom apartment, decked with cotton wool, became the snow-filled Christmas landscape I desired, not what I knew. Adorned window panes dotted with cotton wool, and my head of bountiful hair stuffed under a velvet Christmas hat made all my South African Christmases a sweltering experience. This was the beginning of wanting to belong, according to my understanding gained from Eurocentric literature I had read. I mimicked my way into a pseudo sense of belonging, extending to my desire to produce a theatrical performance in my parents' tiny dining room, which was at the entrance of their tiny one-bedroom flat. While parents were away at work, apartment 18 turned into a theatre with furniture pushed aside to clear the way for a stage. Weeks prior to the performance, I visited the local Market Square library in the small town of Pietermaritzburg on a hunt for a play script. The one I chose, adult me shudders to reveal, was Toad of Toad Hall. Later in life, I cringe at the thought of not having written my own African script for a palpable, authentic sense of belonging to the land and culture of my birth. My high school years ignited the questions of injustice in relation to the divisiveness of apartheid. As teenagers, we heard the hushed conversations of the adults around us in the need for equal rights. But not much changed for me personally, as there was no television in South Africa to help give an informed understanding that life under the South African apartheid sky was unfair, that it was grossly harmful to the human psyche. It made me uncomfortable to live this way, but I did not have the courage to articulate it. Rather, it was university life that brought the perspective that I, along with all my childhood friends and our families, deserved better, a right to fair treatment. Fear was deep-seated. It took decades before that understanding came home to roost. I joined protest marches and secret meetings for the desired release of Nelson Mandela. He, our Madiba, was the hope we hung on to. His much-awaited release in 1990 was music to every ear that struggled under the oppression of legislated racism. The subsequent oneness of the nation became my landmark moment, a time of tremendous transformation intake. I felt pride and a level of confidence that unity was possible. But fear during those pulsating euphoric days continued to crawl beneath my skin like a virus that had gnawed my soul. Thank you for listening. I hope you read the rest of my story, Fear and Hope.